Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Path to Pleiades. We now have another community goal to construct another base within the Pleiades Nebula. This one is for a planetary settlement and it's situated in the same system as the new space station Obsidian Orbital. It focuses around the details of the unknown artifact. The unknown artifact, for those of you that don't know, is an object that seems to be of alien origin. So this developing storyline within the game could well introduce the aliens within the game. Maybe Thargoids, maybe other aliens, maybe both. What we need to do then for this community goal is buy some evacuation shelters and take them to the destination location. Here I'm just going to collect the community goal itself, but first I just want a quick check to see what other mission types are out here. There are a few quite valuable missions in the game now, so I really don't want to miss out on them. But it doesn't seem like there's anything that I want, so I'm going to go and collect the community goal here. So, the text here reads then, Professor Ishmael Palin, the scientist to lead in research into the unknown artifact, has announced plans to establish a new research outpost on Maya B1BA in the Maya system. The Confederation of Dahan, on behalf of Professor Palin, has issued a request for evacuation shelters, which will form the basis of the new outpost. So that is what we're going to have to do. And fortunately, some kind soul left a list on the Frontier forums of all the locations in the immediate vicinity that are actually selling evacuation shelters, so that should make it that bit easier for me to go locate them. And I'll put a link to that forum post in the video description so that you can go and follow that too if you want to. So the planet here in nighttime is actually in the system Dahan, and Dahan is actually a very interesting system because it was one of the first few systems introduced into the game. When I started the game back in Premium Beta, there was literally only 5 systems available in the game, and that system was one of them. Ibutis was another, I think Erenin was another after that, and at that point we didn't even have a system map or a galaxy map. So, well, I haven't actually been to Dahan since around the beta time, so it's quite interesting to actually get back there, especially to get down onto one of the planets that I would have been flying by back then. At any rate, here we are. There should be some evacuation shelters here, and is there? Yep, there we go. Now, there is sometimes a slight problem with this type of community goal in that, as you can see here, the evacuation shelters are very low priced, meaning that you're not going to make that much profit on these runs. And of course, quite a lot of people like to do trade runs to make a profit. So when it's a community goal like this that the profit can actually be quite low on, you'll find that sometimes there's not as many players involved in it as perhaps would be nice, meaning that the objective can be a little bit difficult to achieve. At any rate, with the evacuation shelters collected, it was time to return back to the main base to deliver them. Now here on this small little planetoid here, these are always some of the most nice places to land on. They have such gorgeous features to them, rough terrain and lots of massive craters, and sometimes if you're lucky, a lot of really large canyons. And as you probably saw on my arrival here, this little outpost is actually sitting right in the centre of one of those craters. Let's hand in those evacuation shelters then and see where that puts us on the tiers. Now my clipper here can carry quite a bit over 200 tons of units of cargo here, so that's quite a nice delivery, but I can't imagine that will put me too high up on the reward tiers, at least not yet, not without doing a few more deliveries, but it's always interesting to see where the first delivery actually places us. At the moment at least, there's not a whole lot of commanders actually involved in this, and I'm in the top 50% already. I wonder how long I'll be able to maintain that one for. Now, by the time you watch this video, the community goal will probably be a few days onwards from where it is right now, meaning that hopefully there should be a fair amount more progress made on it. Now, this type of community goal is one of the better ones in that we get to see a result from it, just like the one that constructed this space station out in the Pleiades Nebula. As you can see, this one is called Obsidian Orbital, and it was actually named after me after a vote from the community on the Frontier forums. Really nice little thing to happen there, really something I very much appreciate. Although, as I've said many times before, not something I would have sought after, because after all, it was a massive community effort to bring this station out here. At any rate, the point of this section of the video is to see what we're working toward. As I say, the community goal is to have a planetary base constructed out here on Maya B1BA, and this is that planet in question. Very little small planetoid with, as we saw earlier, some extremely interesting geological features on it, and being on the darker side of the planet at this particular moment, we can see the nebula itself in real interesting vivid colours. It also happens to orbit its sister planet very closely, meaning that there's always something quite nice to see on the horizon there. So whilst scouting around out here to see where perhaps the base might be constructed and to see what this planetoid actually looks like, I come across this point of interest. Being the curious type, I decided to get out in my SRV and have a look what it's all about. I noticed there was a data point there, so I thought why not give it a scan and see what type of reward I will get. But as you can see, there's quite some extensive defences here. At any rate, this is how that all went. I'll be back with you momentarily. So, some extremely clumsy driving there, which has made it all the more difficult to actually get away. Sheltered here underneath my ship, I was well protected from the missiles, although I didn't know at this point what type of damage they would actually be doing to my ships. Missiles seem to be fairly weak in the game still, so I was taking it for granted pretty much that the damage to the ship would be fairly low, and as we can see here, I've taken no damage at all. So, a few moments distraction there. But as we can see overall, this location is going to be quite a nice place to have a base situated at. Now over the last few weeks, the amount of development here in the Maya system has actually been quite dramatic. We've had Obsidian Orbital added, there's also another base over the other side of the system, and we've got another one being added here for the community goal. Hopefully this one will be landable. I personally believe that it's very significant and very intended that all this is shaping up around this area, and that Frontier are about to introduce something quite large in the next few months, or maybe over the next year or so. For more information on what could be coming, do check out my video on the epic history of the unknown artifact. I'll link that in the video description below. For now though, that brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. This is the path to the Pleiades. At last we have got an active community goal to build a station out in a nebula. Pleiades is a chosen destination, and the community goal has now started. I'm going to get to the details on that in just a moment, but before we get to that, I thought you'd like to see what the nebula itself actually looks like and to see what we are working for. This system here is Maya. It's one of the central systems within the nebula, but by no means, I guess, the main one there. There are a few others there, some of them with pristine mining rings and many of them with beautiful planets. Of course, Maya also has its own black hole within it. Which system the station ultimately ends up in, we're going to have to wait and see. We don't know how that's going to happen yet or where it's going to happen, but hopefully it's going to be soon.